Hey, hey,
Hey,
how's it going?
yeah, yeah,
Oh, that could mean so many things.
huh?
I said that could mean so many things.
Yeah, I mean nah, it's good. It wasn't a weird evening, but just like one of those evenings where you're in aloof, or almost like you ever watch Sopranos?
Uh, All-time favorite show.
Okay, right. So you remember when Tony was in the gambling spot, the all-nighter card games they were
Mm-hmm.
doing, and Fitch. You remember Fitch, the
Mm-hmm.
old, and Fitch was telling the story, and Tony cracked a joke on him. And then as he cracked the joke, everybody was laughing, and he scanned around the room like real slow motion, and he could see Fitch's face, the expression
Uh-huh.
on his face. He knew he had to go. Well, that's how my evening's been without Fitch or some bad situation.
All right.
So,
Uh,
yeah.
okay. Well, thanks for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
So this is Laura, aka the Sound Sommelier, here with Mattic. Mattic, what's your earliest memory of hip hop?
I mean, of course, like I would hear in the background because my parents used to play so much music around the house. But I do recall like the Sugar Hill Gang, but I'm not gonna be like everybody else and be like rappers delight.
That is the
I,
classic answer.
right. It's always the classic answer, and although I do remember it, I would say that my really earliest memory of it was uh, break dancing,
Okay.
breaking, but truly was Beat Street. Beat Street was what really got me into the hip hop culture.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you mentioned the records played in your house. Do you remember what some of the earliest ones that your parents used to play that you had an effect on you?
It was more cassettes. It was um it was more cassettes, but I do remember records. My grandma, you remember like the table record players. You open it up and there was a record player inside of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, but my grandma had nothing but gospel records in it. So, like T.L. Burton and Mahalia Jackson. But most of my memories was like with tapes. You know, my mom was always playing Wham, Culture Club, Talking Heads, New Shoes, Atlantic Star, Midnight Star. You know, when it was soul and pop music
Okay.
mostly. Yeah.
Um, is it true you were a dancer before you started rhyming?
Yeah.
How'd you get into that?
That's how you I ain't gonna say that's how you got the girls, but
Hmm.
that's how like I was always an introvert. I was never with the cool crowd, never with a group of people. Always like one good friend.
Okay.
And I used to always dance at home. So once I started to dance at school or broke out of my shell to dance at school, that was the only way I got noticed besides sports. It was dancing, you know.
Hmm.
So we would do our thing, and then people would start noticing it, or we would I go to the little skating rings and stuff, man. And so it was back when it was cool to dance and stuff.
It's not cool to dance anymore.
Huh?
It's not cool to dance anymore.
Yeah, in your bedroom. I mean, who cares if you feel it? I mean, if I feel it, I'm a dance anywhere. You know what I'm saying? Like, there ain't no shame in my game, but
Right.
you know,
So when did you start writing?
hip hop or just in general.
Both.
In general, It was with poetry. I started getting into
Mhm.
like poetry, putting words together and everything. And then when that started to get kind of played out or corny to me, I started to get into writing rhymes. And I think the main thing that got me into writing rhymes was LL Cool J. Definitely, LL Cool J. He had that voice. He hit you with the back to back punchlines and stuff. So, you know,
So how soon after that did you see yourself as an MC?
it wasn't that far. Because like I said, like with just dressing and girls and maybe a little bit of sports and stuff, I was a shadow in school.
Hmm.
And of course, when you was in school, everybody started making the beats on the lunchroom tables and stuff.
Hmm.
And your friend, my friend, hyped me up, man, go over there and rap, go over there and rap. I would just start, like just rapping where I was, people hear me and stuff, and then that's when, like everybody, and my nickname was Droopy. I don't know why.
Okay.
I don't know, like the cartoon
I was
character, I
gonna say
guess.
after the cartoon character.
Yeah, yeah, Droopy. I don't know why I can't imagine that I look like him. But I was rapping, and then like after I finished, like guys that I looked up to are the seniors in the school and stuff. Yeah, man, Droopy, cuz I ain't know you rap like that. God damn, nigga, you crazy. Like, and you hear like, wow, okay. So it just started from there.
Nice. So what's the story behind your alias?
Mattic.
Hmm.
Well, I got three aliases, and Mattic, back then they was breaking down syllables in the name and everything and stuff. So
Hmm.
Mattic stood for mental attack taking tolls in cities. I don't know if that
Okay.
sounds corny now or what, but that's what it stood for, mental attack, like hitting the mind, hitting the mind, hitting the mind. And then you got Dr. Outer, and then you got Ghost in the Machine. So me being able to chop down aliases probably best defined would be like watching the Dooms Red Bull when he's breaking down King Geodorf or Victor
Okay.
Vaughn, like or
Hmm.
Mad Lib with Quasimodo,
Right.
Metal Fingers is making the beats, Metal Faces making the
Hmm.
rhymes, you know what
Hmm.
I'm saying? So stuff like that, Dr. Outer is more of it's when the level of the rhymes go up. It's not about relating with anybody. It's about just taking your pen there. And Ghost in the Machine is it's the stuff I do inside of the beats. Maybe a lot of people don't even know, but especially with the production that I work with luckily I got producers I work with that I'm blessed enough to have their blessings to do things inside of their beats that just play off of my rhyme, and that's the
Hmm.
ghost in the machine.
Got it.
So
Who would you name as early influences on your style?
LL Cool J, Pharoah Monch, um, Thought, but that was around like '94. You know what I'm saying? Like it changes, but in the beginning it was probably LL and Pharoah Monch. Uh, I thought so many people were dope, too many to name, and I would take something from all of them. You know what I
Right.
mean? So the biggest was LL.
How did the others come together?
Madrick, Madrick, Jonathan McKeever, Maverick. Um, me and Madrick just connected, and
How'd you meet?
like my first meeting of him was my old group, the Catskills Project. We had opened up for the Roots, and after the show, he came up and just gave his CD. He just dropped his CD to us,
Hmm.
and we listened to it, and it was around the time we were getting a lot of CDs, and I listened. I was like, man, this is dope. It was like just 4 tracks, and it was just dope. Him rapping and him making the beats. And then we used to go to this freestyle cipher called Fat City, and he came out there and jumped on the mic, and I was like, like if I can recall it now, he was like the perfect blend between Edan
Okay.
and Napoleon Dynamite.
Okay.
That's ill, you know what I'm saying? And we just connected, and then we started hanging out, and he lived like on a university apartment campus because he was in college. So it was a chance for me. It was a chance for me to like. I went to community college, but it was a chance for me to like revisit living like on college and everything, like
Hmm.
being on college campus partying. But we'd always slip away and go make music,
Hmm.
So that's how it just connected, and we just became the others.
So you shared a story with me. How did it feel to share the stage with hip hop heavyweights like Gangstar and Public Enemy on the Smoking Groove tour?
But see that like again, that was when we were I was with my old group Catskills Project,
Hmm.
and the first Smoking Grooves I went to was with Outkast, Erykah Badu, The Roots, um, Cypress Hill, and I was in the crowd. The second one, they had a side stage. It was with Gangstar, Public Enemy, Cypress Hill again, and I think the Beastie Boys was there,
Okay.
and we performed on the first stage at the beginning, and Guru was checking us out and everything. And so, like, after the show was over with, after Guru, and I remember him like really barking on somebody who he was asking the crowd to stand up, and they didn't stand up. And he was like, you know what I'm saying? I asked you to do something. I'm performing. You can't acknowledge. You know what I mean? Don't fucking come up to me after the show is over with talking about, yo, what's up, Guru? You rock the spot and stuff, man. You sit your ass down now, then you just keep your ass set down. I was like. So when it was over with, I walked up, he walked over to him. I was like, yo, man, that was dope. He was like, yeah, you was on stage there with the other group. I was like, yeah, man, yeah. He was like, word, that shit was nice. It was nice. I was like, man, yo, man, your premiere, man, y'all like rocked it. And he was like, you liked it? And the next thing I know, I was like this, like a big hug, man. Like yo, man, you guru.
Hmm.
Uh, One of the few times I was a bit starstruck meeting heroes and stuff.
I feel you there. Hmm.
Yeah.
The Others album, Past Futuristic, was released via Third Earth Music in '04. Why was this your first and only album with the group?
Maverick. Like I say, it goes back to Maverick. Well, like it was a great experience. Like we got to do like CMJ Music Festival. We got to attend a couple of Chris Craft parties down in Atlanta, Stone's Throw party. We got to like meet some heavyweights in the underground. So many cool things. But like at the time, because of some of the people on the roster and the deal they were saying, Third Earth seemed like it was right to do. And then you quickly started to realize what's like the countless thing of running into with some indie labels is they're not developing artists. They're just seeing that, like who they can get out, or they're more boys with this people and that. And then the next thing, or they're pushing their own product. And the next thing you know, like the label folded. So after that, you know, um, we never sat down and had a discussion of breaking up.
Hmm.
But with all the time that I seen Maverick put into the group, I could understand why, and at the time too, he started to become less and less wanting to rhyme. I think he wanted to do his own thing. And of course, like there's nothing wrong with that, like he wanted to just explore himself and his sound, and he had his experience with the others, and he wanted to go back to like doing his own thing, in which, you can't do nothing but respect it. So that's what he did.
Hmm. So when and where did you meet Wax Taylor?
I didn't meet Wax. John met him first. John used to talk to him at first all the time. He reached out and hit John because he had heard our album. He had our album, and so John came to me and was just like, "Yo, man, we got this French producer that wants us to hop on a track." And I'm like, wow, that's France. Okay. We listened to the track and it was cool. It was good. And we decided to do something to it on his first album, Tales of the Forgotten Melody, which became Walk the Line. And we turned it in and he was happy with it. And then soon after that, because he also had J. Rue Damager. He had reached out to J. Rue Damager, but J. Rue Damager didn't make a song. He just made like a mixtape verse. I'm just rapping on it, which a lot of MCs do. Like I'm just putting a verse on it. You should just be happy that I'm blessing it, even though you bless me with cash or whatever. And so he wasn't satisfied with that, and so we ended up doing a second track, which became Where My Heart's, and then that's how we, like got in tune with Wax Taylor.
How did that partnership affect your career?
Um, how can I answer that? It changed my life. Yeah, it changed my life. I was able to grace the stage of many historic stages, um, record crowds, travel the world, meet some of my heroes, uh, meet another gang of cool guys that are now my brothers. Um, it was very life changing. Um, the whole interaction with Wax and to this day. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you mentioned his album In the Mood for Life, which came out in 2009, and the following year you worked with French beat makers Lafine Équipe to release Fantastic Planet. Did your process differ much in how you approached each record?
Like now or then with that?
With the first Others record and the
Well, the stuff with Lafine, that was, like it's a reference of the album that goes back, that people go back to, that I'm not proud of, but it's not because of them. It's because of my input on it. Because at the time it was, like I really wasn't. I was still very raw, a raw product, and a lot of that was, we just get in there. At the time we recorded that album, I was in Paris for like 4 days, and we ended up going to their studio and recording for like 11 hours in one day. And I would just have my notepads with me. And so I'm just putting rhymes to stuff, just putting rhymes to stuff, putting rhymes to stuff. You go back and listen to that now, especially when you've grown and matured in this craftsmanship of writing. You just like, man, this is horrible. Yeah, this ain't all that great. So way more different now.
So that same year you worked on the self-titled Zookeepers album. How did that come together?
Mad Rag.
That's your answer to every question.
No, I mean that's my the dude's a genius,
Mhm.
like yeah, he's a genius. He's dangerous. And him and Matt Cagle, who together for a while and maybe still now has became the Dirty Art Club. And this is before they became the Dirty Art Club. They were working on a project where it was Cagle doing the beats and Madrick was rhyming. And like I said, I think he was on the tail end of rapping. And he came to me. I had came home from France, from touring, and I came home, and he just hit me up. He was like, "Yo, you want to jump on this project and then do like the other half of it?" And I said, "Yeah, like of course." And what we ended up like finishing the project in 2 weeks, 2 weeks top.
Nice.
Yeah, and just came out with a really solid album. And he was doing the production too. It was he was doing the production, Kago was doing the production, and I just think that he just didn't want to finish writing on the rest of it and everything. So,
So when did you decide to move to France?
man, it was like hitting the lottery. I had started to build a relationship with Wax Taylor's old cello player and composer, Morena Case, and once we started to develop the relationship, well, we talked about me coming over, and one day she made the offer to me to come over and just visit, and then after that, she called back maybe 45 minutes later and said, "Well, Wax Taylor, JC said that if you gonna come, then why don't you join the group?" And after that, it's like getting sucked into the vortex. Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, so your solo debut, The Abstract Convention, which dropped in 2012, presented a more experimental side to your sound with touches of psychedelic rock and electronic music influences, mixed with notes of classic jazz and hip hop and boom bap. Sorry.
hmm
From where did you draw inspiration while crafting the album?
Again, when the woman that I started to date, which is now my wife, we it became like the place became like a music class, or like a music room. And every day it was just we're just playing music, we're listening to music. Me, I'm introducing her to more soul, more jazz, more hip hop. Her, she's introducing me to rock, psych rock, classical music, and I was learning a whole lot of things that I hadn't learned since I stopped working at a music store, or like every adventure that I had with a person, it also comes with learning about different music, either in the same field or in different fields. And
Mhm.
as I was going through, I was really in a really heavy Led Zeppelin, Doors, Jefferson Airplane, um, field of music, just listening to these rock groups, Beatles. And at that same time, um, I started working with Phonosaurus Records, and also Dirty Art Club had started working with them too. So the field of music that they were making, I had never heard before, where they were making like hip hop beats with a really psych psych rock influence, but they were making it work. Like they were really making it work. I'd never seen that before, and luckily, as we are all boys and crews, they started to pass me the beats, and agreed to work on the album with me. So the sound of it, which is like what you described, that all came from them, and it was I just happened to be into that field at the moment. It just worked to come up with that abstract convention.
Right place, right time, something.
Exactly.
So what was the impetus behind switching up your style and implementing a more recognizable boom bap approach while working with production you had collected from the Mighty DR on your 2014 release, The Adventures of Dr. Outer?
I went back to listening to soul. I was having a lot of moments with my mom, not bad moments, just moments of remembrance. And my
Mm-hmm.
mom was a huge Marvin Gaye fanatic, huge. And before I left, she was really playing a lot of Marvin Gaye music. And so I started getting back into soul, and I had a lot of beats from the Mighty DR, who was a part of the others also. A lot of beats dating back from many, 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 many years. And, like I had started learning how to record myself, and I started to want to uh, make albums that were, like I was really heavily influenced by like the format of 3 Feet High and Rise and Bloom, the De La Soul albums, Prince
Nice.
Paul albums, where there were really and a lot of Mad Lib beat tapes like Mind Fusion and everything, where it was just like consistent, spontaneous motion going on, things coming from nowhere, songs stopping immediately, or a never-ending stop, like almost like a sound story. And I just crafted that. At the time, I was working with one of the label uh, uh, managers named Stab from a group called Barry White. He helped me put that album together, and I recorded it in Switzerland and at home in France, and some of it in Canada was some of it was wrote in Canada, Montreal to be exact, of vacationing out there. And that's how I met Dr. Alda. That's how Dr. Alda, my long lost brother, came to fruition, and we just crafted this. Now it's like a small little cult favorite, like people who find it.
Hmm.
I'm just like, yo, this is fucking insane, and I'm like, yeah, it's pretty cool. But yeah, yeah, that's how it came about.
Why is the album considered your magnum opus?
I don't even know what that means, because like that came from a journalist from Toronto. I guess he seen it like that.
Well, I
Me, it
guess a lot
was,
of people agreed, though.
yeah. I mean, I guess like if you get your hands on it, it's just an interesting album from the production, from everything that's going on in it. It's just it ain't nothing new under the sun, but it's different, you know. It's really different.
Hmm.
So, you know.
So you dropped a slew of EPs in the years that followed and built a collection of recorded yet unreleased content. Any plans
Hmm.
to release it all one day?
Not at all.
Okay.
Not at all. No, because like a lot of that work. You don't mind if I burn a
I
CBD?
don't,
No.
I don't mind
Okay.
at all.
Okay. As I've been on a break. Um, I started to get into this mind frame of making. I refound my inner child of making music. Um, I started to get into making music for meditation instead of making music for I got to put this out to people because the shit like that, like that goal and that aim wasn't working for me.
Okay.
Um, so I just made music, and still to this day, it's just I make music, and it's always about the creative side of it first. I'm just trying to make what I can't find, you know what I'm saying, at all times. So a lot of those albums or EPs that I've made or mixtapes and stuff, I pass them to a few close friends and everything, but it's not about putting them out. I've had some people try to put them out. I've made a few attempts, but I always end up taking them back down and they just disappear, you know,
Right.
like footprints in the sand.
You don't seem too bothered by it, though.
No, not at all. Like that's not the goal, especially at this point in my life. Making music is not the profit comes without trying to make a profit. You
Right.
know, that don't work for everybody. Everybody, the goal, some people is the goal is to make the profit. The profit for me is creating the music, and everything after that is just the icing on it.
Hmm.
I'm just blessed to be in the situation that I am in.
So talk to me about Plush and your collaboration tactics with fellow MC Yago. Is it Yago? Yago.
Yeah, I go.
Yago.
Yeah, he's one of the few people from back home that'll come back and visit me. You know, come over here on his dolo, and I've known him for a long time, but we were always boys, and we respect each other's craft, but it's more mental.
Hmm.
It's more how we see the world, and we just happen to respect each other's pen. So we never made music together when we were in Charlotte, just at ciphers and stuff, and maybe pop up on features on a few other MC stuff. And he come over here. Of course, I got a studio in the house, and we have fun and talk, get drunk, come in the studio, and just make music. You know what I'm saying? Like just go on a sound adventure together. And then while he was here, I'd start playing around with everything. And we've actually made maybe about 4 or 5 projects. One's on SoundCloud. There's another one with my man Pitch from Manchester called We Left With No Expectations, and the one on SoundCloud called The Good Life. But like they weren't made to put out. And Plush was, we just got drunk and started rapping over a bunch of 1-2 beats, and then I just let Ghost in the Machine get on them, and do some magic on them. We were gonna try to put it out, and then we decided not to because we just ain't into it like that. Mm-hmm.
So how have you managed to stay in the game without ever having the backing of a major label or distribution deal?
I stay in the game because of one, working with Wax Taylor, and different other French groups over here. But there's a difference. Me, I'm more of a penman. It's about the bars. It's about the lines. With me, that's where I come from. And to work with Wax Taylor and different other French groups it's a job. It's more spectacular. It's more entertainment. Go on stage, go in front of a lot of people and display. And maybe they're not even listening to what you're saying, especially in French. They don't understand what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying?
You don't know that.
I do. And because even if you put the text in front of them, they're not gonna get it.
You don't think a lot of people there speak English?
They speak English, but they don't understand metaphors and bars.
Oh, okay, that way.
Yeah. They don't understand that. Not a lot. Like no. And that's how I've been able to make a profit off of it. To be able to live, working with some publishing companies, working with different things, and that's also gave me the chance to horn myself to right now where I got the correct team around me to maybe put things out, or to have a chance to put things out. So, I got the right sound man around me now, the best sound man in France to me, who loves and enjoys working with my music. Mattic is teaching me a whole lot, a very, very whole lot. And working with Green Tea from ASM, I learn a lot with this guy. So we'll see. Well, it's already happening. It's already happening. So.
Well, we'll see. We'll see where it goes if it comes out.
Well, yeah, if it comes out.
Mm-hmm. So I read a blog post that mentioned something about a vocal reinterpretation of Madlib's Rock Conductor EP. Is this reserved only for a select few of lucky listeners?
I destroyed it.
Ah, I was afraid you'd say that.
I got one wave of it that I made, but all of the separate songs I destroyed. Yeah, I made a few Madlib mixtapes, a few J Dilla mixtapes,
I was
Knowledge.
listening to the Dilla one the other day, yeah.
Yeah, and the Rock Conductor, when it came out, I spent the weekend and just got high. And I was like, man, this is crazy. Because then, again, like this is somebody sampling stuff that ain't supposed to be sampled, or you're not used to being heard sample, and actually making beats that people ain't supposed to rhyme over. And I made it. I did it in like 2 days. Wrote it in one day, recorded in one day. And my man Pitch had Egon's. He had hung out with Egon and Madlib, and he had Egon's email. And so I hit Egon up, and he answered. And I said, yo, I wanted to send you the Rock Conductor. I'm not looking to be signed. I'm not trying to get a deal. I just want to pass it on to you, and that's cool. And he said, yeah, I'd like to hear it. He said, because those are some really abstract beats and not really made for MCs to rap over, so I'd like to hear it. And I sent it to him, and he hit back, and he was like, "Yeah, man, it's interesting, man. You know, like we keep this in the stash. It's dope." And that was all that came of it. After that, I dismantled it.
Okay.
Yeah. Hungry Ghost is in there. He has a lot of my old stuff. He happens to have that one too.
So if we want it, we should hit him up.
No, like I said, I got a wave of it.
Just kidding.
I'll send it to you. I'll send it
Okay.
to you.
All right. I'll bother you after this.
Yeah, no problem.
So you're part of a collective called Clouds in a Headlock, which dropped their debut mixtape Asthmatic Volume 1 back in April. Did the pandemic and having an excuse to stay home and just work help facilitate this project?
I'm not in Clouds in the Headlock. Dr. Outer's in Clouds in the Headlock, my man.
Apologies. Can I speak to him?
He's he busy chopping up the
Oh, okay.
chopping up the notebooks.
If you could speak for him, I'd appreciate it.
Dr. Outer came to Lovecraft and F, and he's actually visiting from Norway. He's stuck here because he can't travel because of the everything going on with the COVID-19. So we have a guest that's in the house, but they actually he reached out to F and Green Tea. Lovecraft, who lives in Japan, and they went to Japan and off grid and just like in this hut just recorded a whole bunch of stuff, and it came out to be Clouds in the Headlock, and that's it's like Revenge of the Nerds, like this is it's just nerdy pen stuff with those guys. They're trying to go level 10 with the pen, It's just about the pen. Yeah. Interesting.
So I have another question for Dr. Outer. I said I have another question for Dr. Outer. When can we expect Air Candy, The Adventures of Dr. Outer 2 to come out?
Late November, early December.
Okay, so soon.
Yeah, it's a partnership I did, Dr. Outer did. I did for Dr. Outer, who made this part 2 of an album based off of my son, spending time with my son. And it was an album that he wasn't gonna do nothing with. And he ended up giving it to my man Mike, who owns a sneaker store down in the center of town that sells NBA shoes and gear and everything.
He wants to know where Dr. Outer is.
Where's Dr. Outer? He in the living room chopping it up, Gene. That's my man, Gene, man. Big up, mad shouts to him. One of he's a teacher. He's a teacher. The teacher.
That's a really good label for him.
Yeah, he's the professor. So, he donated the album because it wasn't going to do anything. All produced by the Mighty DR, co-produced by Ghost in the Machine. It's a really, it's a masterpiece of work, and I can't wait for people to hear it because it's a continuation of the Adventures of Dr. Outer, but just more developed and based off of my son.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you and Madrock have been collaborating since the beginning and are getting ready to release your self-titled record in just over a week from tonight. How long has this been in the works?
Well, see, that was actually the album that was created during the pandemic. The Clouds in the Headlock was created by Dr. Outer and F and Lovecraft around autumn of last year.
Okay.
That's when that was created. But with Madrek, Ill Scholars, Madrek came to me and was just like, we should do an album. At first, he wanted it to be my solo album. And I said, nah, man, we do it together. We together on this. So, we're tired of lo-fi. We got creating like lo-fi albums because everybody's doing it.
Yeah.
And, we'd rather go left. So we wanted to go back. His first idea was, because the landscape is always important, is the production. And he said, what do you think if we did like production? If I did production that was kind of like KMD, third base influence. I said,
Mhm.
yeah, man, whatever, but yeah, that would be dope. So it's going back to the boom bap era now. It's going back to the others style now, and it's just me and him on a. He tailor made all of those beats for me to lay a fourth dimensional landscape on them, and it's yeah, we'll see what happens and stuff. It's right now it's being perceived steadily like we'd like, and so like we'll see. It's just a boom bap. It's a golden age album now. Maybe if the machine hadn't gotten involved, maybe this is what golden age hip hop would be at now. Yeah.
And today, yeah. Well, Magic is fire. That single.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Um, so you're a busy guy. Do you have anything else lined up that you can talk about?
Um, Clouds in the Headlock is next week. Then after that, there's going to be the second volume of Clouds in the Headlock. Ill Scholars is next week, and then there's the second volume of Clouds in the Headlock, maybe 2 weeks after. Then Ear Candy. I got two more albums. Maybe one of them will be dropped before the year's over with, and that's a combination with DJ Parento out of Paris. This is a really dope beat maker. We just finished that. We're having that mixed and mastered down now by my man Julian, who does all my work. I got to give a big shout to my man Julian Don Ju out of Paris, who's the best sound man in France. I also have a project with a producer named Daylight Robbery, who we just added into Clouds in the Headlock to co-produce with Rhino Fade from ASM. And we put together an album, a 9-track album called The Bazaar Cafe Odd. And it's just, we took soul loops, a lot of loops, a lot of really crazy loops. It's really heavily inspired by Alchemist production. I don't know if you heard Alchemist and Jay Worthy.
Mm-hmm.
It's really heavily influenced off of that. Maybe some of the Griselda early loop stuff, Rock Marciana type loop stuff. It's really abstract over loops and stuff, and that's being mixed and mastered right now too. So
Al's one of my top 5 favorite producers. Big fan.
who Al
Alchemist,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, he's dope, especially after he got out from under the this is no disrespect on it, but after he got out of the Mob Deep umbrella and just ventured out on his own, man, Alchemist is he's nice.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it's amazing how many songs that I love that I've only recently in the last couple of years found out that he produced.
Yeah, man. Like Al's
Like
he's
the We Gonna Make It beat, I didn't know that was him.
yeah, yeah. Like Al's dope. But like I said too, Rock Marciana and Ka are really crazy dope too, man. Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm a huge Rock Marciana fan, man. Like
I know a
he's
lot of
a
people are. Mm-hmm.
yeah, he's one guy that can keep going to the goodie basket and it never gets old with how he's doing it. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Like how he's saying it, man. He's it's nice to see guys. I don't want to say that they take the Ghostface and Raekwon style,
Right.
but you can see it, that New York, that fly nigga shit. You know what I'm saying? Like fly flavorful.
Mm-hmm.
Like aerial attack on just lyrics and just coming and saying stuff you don't necessarily vibrate to, but they paint so many pictures with it
Mm-hmm.
and it's so accord with the art that it don't get old. I used to feel like that about Griselda too, but they're putting out so much stuff that it's just like I get it. You know,
Everyone
like
right now.
it's
Mm.
just like a long continuation of one album. You know,
Yeah, my
so
girl Sherry just said influence. I think that's true.
yeah, you know what you're gonna get with them. Do 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 do. Yeah, yeah. You know.
Oh, and I also meant to say, I love the name Ill Scholars. I have no idea how that hasn't been taken. Yeah.
Uh, Say it again. Mad Rick came up with that name. You know, like,
You
um,
gotta talk to him.
yeah, you gotta talk to Mad Rick. You gotta, uh, the guy's a genius on he knows how to stay out of the pocket while still keeping his hand in the pocket. You
Mhm.
know, if Mad Rick's hand is in the pocket, you know, he might have in there 50 cent, a vapor, some keys, you know what I'm saying, a Lunchable, you know,
In his pocket?
ID.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you got big pockets, you know, like you know
Oh,
what I'm
okay.
saying, big pockets with long arms, you know what I'm saying, but not only that, but he can also mix, master. He's teaching me things about Ableton on what to do. He knows how to market his stuff. He knows how to create the art for his stuff. You know, like he's a one-man army, and all of that stuff most people have to pay or get somebody else to do. You
Right.
know, like luckily on this album we had Julian uh, mix and master it, and you just can't go wrong with this guy. You know, like this is my sound man, a really close friend. We're brothers. We became. He's also the sound man for the for Wax Taylor on Live. We just became really, 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 really good friends, and I'm lucky to have him in my corner to bring out what I'm doing.
Well, Manik, I really appreciate you taking the time. Is there anything else you want to add or promote?
Um, nah, you know, like shouts to everybody listening. Big up to my man Mad Rec. Big up to Gene Brown, my fellow swordsman. Um, Green Tea. This dude is he's nice. He's yeah, he's my top MC I know right now. He's the guy that makes my pen work. FP Sparks Yago, he's the only guest that I have MCing on the Ill Scholars album. Uh, my man Pitch out of Manchester, who's on High Focus Records. He's another guy you have to check out. He's just my young bro. He's really dope. Julian and yeah, that's about it. Look out for the Ill Scholars album and look out for the Clouds in the Headlock continuation and other projects that's coming in the future.
Very exciting.
Yeah.
I thank you again, and I hope you have a good night. I know it's late over there.
Oh, it's all good. My son sleeps, so it's all good.
That's all that matters.
Yeah. All right.
I'll talk to you later.
Yeah.